everyone to an extremely exciting day for Tonix Pharmaceuticals. Grand opening of our new Advanced Development Center right here. For those of you who joined us on a groundbreaking ceremony, it's hard to believe that was only 10 months ago. I don't know whether it seems like yesterday or an eternity, but it's been quite a year for sure. My name is Bill Reardon. I am the Director of Facilities and Engineering, and I've been honored to run this project here. But before we get going, I would like to acknowledge some of our distinguished guests we have joining us. Some of them will be speaking shortly. First, I believe most of you know him, but our CEO and Chairman of the Board, Seth Letterman. From our Board of Directors, we have Richard Bagger. My pleasure to introduce Brigadier General David Grange. Thank you, sir. And Dr. Doye Alokaton. I hope I got that right.
Close enough.
I tried. And James Trico. It's definitely my pleasure to introduce our special guest joining us today, former Senator Max Baucus. He served in the U.S. Senate for 37 years representing Montana. I've been spending some time out there. It's a beautiful state for sure. He was also the chair of the Finance Committee, authored the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, and subsequently Ambassador Baucus served as the ambassador to China under the Obama administration. So welcome and thank you for coming. On our Tonix senior leadership team, we have our CFO, Bradley Sanger, COO, Jessica Morris, Executive Vice President of Product Development, also the head of this site, Siobhan Fogarty, our Executive Vice President of Translational Medicine, Herb Harris, our Executive Vice President of Chemistry, Daryl Rideout. Our Executive Vice President of Research, Bruce Doherty. We also have a number of senior staff that are up here joining us today from our corporate offices in New Jersey and our Research and Development Center in Frederick, Maryland. So welcome to all of them. I'm not sure. We had Dartmouth Town officials. Some of them had to leave for an appointment, but I'm going to announce them anyways. I can't guarantee they're still here. They're busy folks. We had David Teitelbaum, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen for Dartmouth. Town Administrator Sean McGinnis. Director of Planning Christine O'Grady. I think she's here. And our building commissioner, and who has become a great friend of our project team, whether he likes it or not, Joe Braga. So it's been a pleasure working with him. And last but not least, we have members of the Cardinal team here. They're here representing hundreds and hundreds of men and women who have dedicated themselves over this past 10 months. They have compiled almost 110,000 work hours on this site since you were last here. So definitely this has been a tough year. Big thanks to the construction team and all of our trades who've been here, who continued working while many had the luxury of working remote. You can't build a building remotely, so thank you to all of them. Our speakers today, we have Jon Mitchell, Mayor of New Bedford. Ashley Stolba, the Undersecretary of Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development. And U.S. Congressman William Keating, representing the 9th District of Massachusetts. Okay, so before we start the speaking, I have a few logistics items I've been told to remind everybody. So we'll go through these. Hopefully everyone has their name tags. I'm terrible with names. I'm not going to remember all of you. So I hope you all have your name tags. If you didn't get them yet, our team's in the back. They can get them for you. Anyone who has to use the facilities, you can now go through the door in our cafe, and it's right behind there. Unlike last time you were here when we had Porta John. So we're in a much better place right now. So we do have indoor plumbing. It's fantastic. Okay. Again, we have water for anyone who gets thirsty over there. And after we have the speaking, we're all going to head over towards the main entrance. We'll have the formal ribbon cutting, and after that, we'll do tours. We're trying to do about 10 people at a time. It'll be about 30 minutes to get through the site, go through our different areas. So we'll try and coordinate the best we can on that as soon as we get done with the photos and such. One big thing I'd like to thank is our team that put this event together, because I'm surely not capable. So big thanks to Clara Pingen, Elizabeth Valoy, and Liz Esherwood. Thank you very much. So last time we were here on August 3rd, when we looked behind us, there was it was a rather sad and empty-looking building. It was looking for a purpose. So today we are celebrating the transformation of that structure into what is a cutting-edge development center capable of producing clinical trial quality vaccines for infectious diseases, including monkeypox, smallpox, and COVID-19. That is the reason this facility exists. Now, I'm sure you're all well aware of all the challenges you've had in your personal lives over the past year. It's been a challenge, but I can assure you, to put together a capital project of this nature, those challenges are multiplied exponentially. We had COVID outbreaks among the construction crew in the middle of the winter. We have supply chain issues. We're still waiting for some parts. Labor shortages, cost increases, and I could go on and on and on. But where we are today, through the effort of this entire team, is we have an administrative area that's 100% completed and occupied. We'll go through the staffing that we have in there in a moment. Our product development labs are online, operational, licensed by the CDC. I think the team did such a great job. We set a record for approval. It usually takes 4 to 6 months to get approval for these, 4 to 6 weeks to get approval for these labs. We had it in 4 days. So that's a testament to the great work of this team. They had everything in order. It was fantastic. Our QC labs, they're complete. Right now they're being qualified for use to be ready to support manufacturing. Our manufacturing areas are substantially complete. There's definitely still work to do. We actually planned this event knowing that they wouldn't be done, because this gives us an opportunity to invite all you folks to come in and see what it's like inside of a clean room. Once we actually start to go clean in the next few weeks, we have gowning and cleaning and restrictions, and it would be rather problematic to invite everyone in. So we're not done. When you go through, you're going to see a lot of what the facility is going to look like. We still have work to do. We should be complete with that space by the end of this month to turn it over to our manufacturing teams on August 1st. And the site goal is to produce our first batch out the door by the end of the year. It's aggressive to say the least, but with the team we have, I think we can do it. So one thing, we have a lot of folks here that this is very important to. That is the impacts of this project on the community and the economy. As I mentioned, we put over 110,000 labor hours into this facility, and our construction manager, Cardinal Group, did everything they could to hire local trades wherever possible. So we had a lot of local firms working on this. And actually, to make mention, Poyant Sign, our next door neighbor, did all the signage around here. We've had them running ragged for about 3 weeks now, so thank you to them to pull it off right at the wire. But we've used as many local companies as possible. We've signed over a dozen service contracts with local companies. Everything from our landscaping today, our security, our cleaners. We have about a dozen contracts, and we'll probably have another 20 more to go, and we're trying to leverage as many local firms as we can right in this area. As far as full-time employees, we're about halfway to our staffing goal for this year. In my notes, we have 30 employees. I just read an email. We just had 2 more join us today. So it climbs every day. And of those, about 2/3 are from the southeast region of Massachusetts. And I think we have 10 people from Dartmouth and New Bedford alone. I think we have 2 employees that can walk to work from here. So, I'm serious. Right down the street. So we're definitely, bringing jobs to the local economy, and we have 30 more positions to fill this year. And again, that's our strategy, is to bring in as many local folks as we can. Folks like myself who've had enough of commuting to Cambridge. And there's a lot of talent in the area for us to hire from. So we've been very blessed that way. On my team, I have to be honest. I've been able to recruit an incredibly talented facilities and engineering team. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. This team and the entire project team has been just doing above and beyond the past 2 months to get this facility ready. So I would like to give a big shout out to the facilities and engineering and the entire project team. Thank you all. All right, so now let's turn this over to our first speaker, Dr. Seth Letterman. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before I get into my remarks, I want to congratulate Bill on an incredible job under very difficult circumstances. So Bill Reardon. Welcome to the ribbon cutting of Tonix Pharmaceuticals' new state-of-the-art Advanced Development Center for Vaccines. I'm Seth Letterman, CEO of Tonix. Thank you all for joining us today to celebrate the opening of this facility, where we will make vital contributions to the health, safety, and security of the people throughout our country and around the world. I'd like to thank the government leaders who have joined us here today. These are the officials who have worked at the federal, state, local, town levels to support the preparedness programs and create the business environment to complete this facility. Congressman Bill Keating, thank you for coming back and for your support of the federal programs that have enabled the response to the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as preparing for other public health challenges, which we at Tonix hope to address. As a member of the Armed Services Committee, you oversee the vital role of the United States military in developing vaccines and countermeasures against biological agents, an effort we plan to join. Undersecretary Ashley Stolba, thank you for your work in overseeing housing and economic development for the Baker administration. I want to recognize you and the governor's hard work and leadership to create the environment that has made Massachusetts the hub of a biotech boom that's the envy of every other state. Mayor Mitchell, thank you for being here again, 10 months later. I want to thank you and the city of New Bedford providing services to us here in the New Bedford Park. I also want to thank you for your leadership of the city, particularly during the challenges of the pandemic. While we are in the New Bedford Business Park, this building is physically part of the town of Dartmouth, and town officials have worked with us every step of the way to permit and build this facility. Today, we have Select Board Chair David Tattlebaum, who we've mentioned, Sean McGinnis, Planning Director Christine O'Grady, George Borge, and Dartmouth Interim Economic Development Director Cody Haddad. Thank you for being here and assisting us. We are grateful to your support. I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of former Ambassador and U.S. Senator Max Baucus, and thank you for all your support of Tonix and your personal friendship as we've built this great company. Now let's talk about why we're here. The Advanced Development Center, which we call the ADC, is the crown jewel of Tonix's efforts to participate in pandemic preparedness. It's been 10 months since the groundbreaking, and Tonix has delivered on our promise to complete this state-of-the-art facility and to begin the job of hiring scientists and support staff to bring this vision to full realization. For those of you who may not know, Tonix's headquarters are in New Jersey, which itself has a legacy of serving as the center of the world's pharmaceutical industry. You all know, when it comes to biotech, the center of the universe is Boston, and Massachusetts, which is why we have come to New Bedford and Dartmouth to meet these amazing scientists, technicians, and engineers close to where they live. The key part to Massachusetts' biotech dominance is the skilled, trained, and experienced workforce. This new facility will enable Tonix to vertically integrate more of our development activities under a single roof with a well-trained and capable team for the development of our vaccines. At full capacity, we expect to employ 70 people, almost all in skilled, high-tech jobs. Some of those people are here today, and they've been a great addition to the Tonix team. As Bill mentioned, we now have 32 employees, and will the employees in the audience today, who are all from Massachusetts, please raise their hands. Thank you. Future employees will come from UMass Dartmouth, Bristol Community College, and from the institutions of nearby Worcester, or from any of the impressive universities and community colleges in the region that educate and train the professionals who make this Massachusetts biotech revolution possible. This facility will transform our efforts across the research and development spectrum in support of vital national health interests, providing robust domestic capability to develop and produce countermeasures to defeat COVID-19, monkeypox, smallpox, and any future threats that may emerge. Much of the work at the ADC will support the development of our monkeypox and smallpox vaccines. Monkeypox is just emerging as a threat in the United States after it has been spreading in Africa for many years. There are now more than 2,000 cases of monkeypox outside of Africa, and it is spreading. In addition to monkeypox, the malicious reintroduction of smallpox is a growing concern. Our enemies have seen the havoc that COVID caused, and smallpox is a primitive but deadly weapon of bioterrorism or biowarfare. And finally, our COVID and COVID-19 vaccine, TNX 1840. We are not done with COVID. There are still more than 300 deaths per day in the United States from COVID, which is 3 times the threshold of flu deaths, which has been set forth as an arbitrary limit at which government officials may call the pandemic over. Beyond COVID, we must prepare for future pandemics. There's a major need for U.S. domestic capability to develop and manufacture live virus vaccines. Live virus vaccines are the most established and effective type of vaccine. They have many potential advantages over other vaccines, such as durable protection, meaning lasting a long time, and blocking forward transmission, meaning they block the ability of one person to infect another. We believe the ADC here in the New Bedford Business Park is an important part of that effort. To meet these health challenges, we also need effective public-private partnerships. There must be collaboration between government agencies and legislatures that set the requirements and provide the resources for these efforts, and the companies like Tonix who invent and supply the essential vaccines and medicines. We look forward to continuing this partnership here in Massachusetts and working to make it a success. We are already enjoying a fruitful collaboration with the Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston and another with Mass Biologics, both in Mattapan and Fall River. And Jeff Bernard is here. So thank you very much for working with us on those programs. We're also excited to join the New Bedford Business Park community and to expand the biotech miracle south with the Advanced Development Center here in Dartmouth. Thank you all for coming to celebrate this ribbon cutting with us. Before I turn the program back to Bill Reardon, I have a special presentation to make to the Zeiterion Performing Arts Center, and I'd like to welcome Rosemary Gill, Executive Director, and board member Beppy Hyde Cooper to join me at the podium. Welcome, Rosemary and Beppy. Tonix is pleased to be part of the South Coast region, and to demonstrate our commitment to the area, I would like to present you with this donation to support the Zeiterion. Part of what attracted us to the area is the vibrant cultural community. This is a great place to live, and organizations like the Zeiterion are what make it so. Rosemary.
Oh, fantastic.
Like to make some comments?
Sure, I'd love. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much to Dr. Letterman and the Tonix team. I'm incredibly grateful to be standing here today. I stand on many shoulders. I want to acknowledge Beppy. I also want to acknowledge our board chair, Mike Tavares, who also has a business here in the business park. We are wonderful at the Zeiterion, to be perfectly honest. It's a fantastic place that makes a tremendous impact on this community economically and just as, for quality of life and for educating nearly 20,000 students on an annual basis in the arts. So thank you for recognizing our importance and our contribution to the community, and welcome to New Bedford and Dartmouth.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take it.
Second, people in the back row, tell them how much it is.
Oh, $50,000 for the people in the back row. Thank you. Well, with that, those are my comments, and now I'd like to introduce the Mayor of New Bedford, Jon Mitchell.
Yeah, for those of you who are looking closely at that check, there was no decimal point, so maybe there's an opportunity to amend stuff. But this is, I can't believe how quickly this has all happened. I asked Seth before things started. Is that August of 2021 or August of 2020? August of 2021. You guys got a tremendous amount of work done between groundbreaking and ribbon cutting. I really want to congratulate everybody. A few words of thanks and acknowledgement, and then just a couple of comments. I want to again thank the Tonix team and you in particular, Seth, for having us here today, and a great celebration, of course. And I want to say a couple of words about what you've done in a moment. I would like to acknowledge the presence of Tony Sapienza, the chair of the New Bedford Economic Development Council, and as well as the executive director, Derek Santos, and the entire team. Liz Isherwood, the chair of the Greater New Bedford Industrial Foundation. It is a team effort here in New Bedford to advance the cause of opportunity, and really want to thank all of you guys for the support that you've lent to this particular project. I want to thank my friend Bill Keating for his support at the federal level for economic development here in Greater New Bedford, as well as Undersecretary Stolba and Governor Baker and the entire Baker administration for their support in getting behind projects like these and so many others. So thank you both. I want to welcome Senator Baucus to New Bedford. Thank you for being here. It's really great to see you, and we hope you enjoy the weather's like this all the time. 365. But no, many thanks. And look, there is, as I sat here, my remarks at the groundbreaking have come back to me, and some of them bear repeating, and if it sounds like old hat, then just ignore me for the next couple of minutes, and if it doesn't, I really want to emphasize a few things here. And there's just so much to love about this project, right? So let's start with the obvious, which is it will create good jobs, really good jobs, high-paying jobs, jobs in which that allow their occupants to support their families, to put a roof over their kids' heads, their families' heads, and to send their kids to college and live a high-quality life of here in the New Bedford area. That's for starters, and you can't say enough about that. We like the fact that we can sell you water, Seth, so we can't, because you're over the city line, we can't charge property taxes, we'll accept a voluntary contribution nevertheless if you see fit. But no, it's another pillar in the park, which is great. Yeah, the other thing is, and Seth touched upon this in his remarks, this puts New Bedford in the middle of the action on a global scale, and an area that is really, to say the least, important. We've just been living the last 2 years in a pandemic, right? Let's just sort of step back and look at it from a historical perspective. This hasn't happened in 100 years, and it certainly hasn't happened to a modern society like ours. This is sort of, from a historic perspective, all really new, and we're not done with it yet. And so the need to continue to develop COVID vaccines is front and center, a durable vaccine, so that the challenge of getting repeated boosters starts to fade to the background. We can get something that allows us to sustain our immunity for longer periods of time, and that's something that's really important right now. But of course, the pandemic, among other things, has caused us to think hard about the role of public health in society and the role of vaccines, and not just here but overseas. And it's caused us it's caused a perspective shift of sorts. And so smallpox, monkeypox, other potential disease outbreaks are there, and they are real, and we take them, because of this recent experience, so much more seriously. And it's encouraging for us. It's validating for us that we're going to be part of that discussion, thanks to you. The other thing I'll just say is this. I want to celebrate, I think we should all celebrate your entrepreneurship, Seth, and really in two respects. One is in the ordinary respect, which is to say, every time someone launches a new venture, you're placing a bet. You're placing a bet on yourself, you're placing a bet on your team. And there are lots of folks who've tried to go from academia to commercializing what they do in academia to big business, and not everybody pulls it off. You've been able to do it quite successfully, and you're growing, and so we certainly salute you and your willingness to take on risk in that respect, but also your teams as well. You guys have skillfully scaled this business, and that's no mean feat, and we shouldn't overlook that simple fact. The other thing is this: in placing a bet on yourselves, you've also placed a bet on Greater New Bedford, and by that I mean this, not just in the ordinary way, right? But not just in the sense that, you have to pick some place to set up shop. For those of us who've been in the business of economic development here for many years, and I've been in office longer than I care to admit now, but there's always been this chicken and egg problem, which is to say, we have in this part of Massachusetts, certainly compared to the rest of the state, but even nationally, relatively low levels of educational attainment, right, in our adult population. One of these places where folks who are heading off to college stay away, right, and there's this this churning of the population, such that when it has come time for us to approach pharmaceutical companies or tech companies, the question always resorts to, so tell us about your workforce, right? And so that's been hard. This is something I'm sure you've dealt with, Senator, over the years, right? And in our case, 60 miles from Boston is a long way, right? When you get right down to it. And so it's always been this challenge. And so you've said, you know what, we can do it here. We can make it here. We can make it here in New Bedford. And that is going to be the best validation of all, that this is a place that can be competitive, and not just commercial fishing, as important as that is to us, not just an offshore wind, as important as that will be to us, and other maritime sectors and traditional manufacturing and advanced all these things that we do well already, but also in the higher up the value chain, right, in research. And that's what's new, and that's what's truly groundbreaking about this announcement. And so what you are a pioneer in that respect, and that is so important to us. So important to us to be able to say to other companies, you know what? Look at what Tonix did. You can do the same thing here. And that will be in the long run the legacy that this ribbon cutting will leave. And for that, Seth, we are so grateful, and we're going to start touting you as soon as you throw the doors open. We're going to make sure everybody knows what a success this is already heading off to be. So thank you, Seth. Thank you, everybody, for all of your work in getting this done. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much to the mayor. He's taller than me, I guess. Okay. It's my pleasure to introduce Secretary Ashley Stolba.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It is so great to be here with all of you in the South Coast. I have been down here quite a bit over these past couple of weeks, so I'm always very happy when I'm invited back. So I am here today on behalf of the Baker-Polito administration. I work closely with Secretary of Housing and Economic Development Mike Keneally to promote and develop economic opportunities all across the state. You know you have a really important project when you have all levels of government here. It's so nice to see you here, Congressman Keating and Mayor Mitchell. I know there's a bunch of folks from the town of Dartmouth and City of New Bedford, and so many employees, so this is a very fun event. I do want to begin by thanking and congratulating you, Dr. Letterman, and the entire team for this exciting milestone. Secretary Keneally was here last year for the groundbreaking. I was not here, but it is amazing the amount of work that you've been able to do over the past year. I oversee a lot of our public infrastructure projects and a lot of projects just like this. And I'll tell you, all we hear about is delays, 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 supply chain issues, workforce issues, all of these issues that are making it impossible for buildings to be completed on time. So this is unbelievable, the amount of progress that you've been able to make. So congratulations to everyone who was involved in that effort. As you all know, the life sciences industry is such an important part of the Commonwealth's growth, and we're so grateful for companies like Tonix for choosing not only Massachusetts, but for the South Coast. And thanks to the leadership team and Dr. Letterman, in collaboration, all levels of government, Southeastern Massachusetts continues to grow as a hub for life science and biotech development. And in doing so, you're helping our administration achieve our goals of staying on the cutting edge of innovation, growing the state's capability in biomanufacturing, and building a bigger, more diverse life sciences workforce. I have to say, I was so excited to hear about all of your partnerships with local schools and community organizations. I know you and I talked about there's a lot of opportunities for more of that. I do want to talk a little bit about the work that Lieutenant Governor Polito has done around STEM and building a more diverse, robust workforce. You and I were discussing it's great to have all of these STEM programs and promoting all of these STEM careers, but you need to actually have the careers, right? You need to actually have the jobs, and you are creating the jobs for all these kids to work at. We've created the Innovation Pathway programs at 49 high schools, mostly in low-income and urban communities, to give thousands of students technical courses and internship in STEM fields. We've invested over $100 million in equipment in Voc schools. We've developed the Career Technical Initiative, turning Voc schools into 3 shifts a day, educational operations, so more young people can gain career experience and credentials. We launched the Early College Program to give kids free access to college courses, which they would otherwise not have the opportunity to do. And we also have a new STEM internship, which I know I was telling you all about, that we'd love to have you participate in our new STEM internship program, which hopefully makes it easier for companies to bring on high school interns. So again, thank you so much. Thank you for hiring local. Thank you for being here in New Bedford. And thank you for expanding to Massachusetts. It's really, really cool to think that the next big vaccine breakthrough will be right here in southeastern Massachusetts. So we wish you the best. Thank you. We've lost our fearless leader, but I think I will now introduce... Be careful, I may take over more stuff.
My apologies. We're trying to get the ribbon set up over
Keep
there.
me on my toes.
You can't have a ribbon cutting ceremony without the ribbon that everybody was looking for over there behind me. All of the logistics, isn't it fun? They're looking at me, where's the ribbon? I don't have it. Okay, so we'll get that taken care of. Apologies. It's my pleasure to introduce U.S. Congressman William Keating, representing the 9th District of Massachusetts. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing where you were and going. I thought he was using the new indoor plumbing or something like that. But it's a pleasure to be here. Senator Baucus, hope you get a chance to go around and see the area. There's a different kind of fishing than there is in Montana here. And if you go through the port, you'll see the #1 port per dollar yield in the United States for fishing, and see the whaling museums. Yes, and go to some of the great Portuguese restaurants in the area that Senator Kennedy never missed when he was in the region. So thank you for being here. Seth and Bill, this is terrific. One of the most famous lines of an iconic movie, Field of Dreams, was, "Build it and they will come." You succeeded in such a short period of time in doing this, Seth, that in the middle of supply chain issues, you can't get any work done in your house these days. I don't know how you got all the work done here, but it's quite an achievement just since August 3rd when we were here last. I think that most of you are aware in Massachusetts, and it was mentioned that Massachusetts is the hub of the biotech life science industries. It's enormous. It's one of the biggest, it's probably rivals with California, some of the largest centers in the country, and it's got international reputation as well. So we think of Massachusetts and we think of biotech all the time. And just look at the millions and billions of dollars of venture capital investment that's done in Massachusetts, and look at the growing footprint that's here in terms of square footage for laboratory work. And it's extraordinary. It's just looking forward, even in the midst of coming out of this pandemic in our region, that in our state, the fact that there's going to be an expansion that will be 20 million square feet in the next 3 years projected, and 40,000 new jobs in that process. But here in the greater New Bedford area, it's a well-kept secret, perhaps a well-kept secret no more after today, about the potential for life sciences and biotech in our region right here. And that's no accident. I want to thank Mayor Mitchell and your staff for the work that you've done here in the greater New Bedford area, the local Dartmouth officials. They work so hard in dealing with what is a very competitive field in terms of siting. New Bedford, by the Mass Biotech Council, has been classified as a platinum bio-ready community. So platinum is pretty good as far as I see, and then it really speaks volumes for the way they've got their fast-track permitting, which was mirrored here in Dartmouth, their water, which they're so graciously selling here. They could have sold it for more in California, but they are doing it here in Dartmouth, as well as just the inherent community that's here in terms of the proper siting for this. Look around. You'll see in the region, we're about an hour away from 3 medtech centers in Boston and Providence and Worcester. There's over 50,000 graduates annually, college graduates annually, right in this region to supply jobs. And the relative cost of housing and real estate is terrific here compared to what's happening in other areas. And also the trend, and I'm sure the employees here know this well, the trend to move away from Cambridge and Boston with its commute to an area where you can go to work in the morning, see your family, come back at night and still have time to see your family, perhaps watch them in sports, and have a life that's full in that regard. And I think that that's something that's more and more after the change that we've seen with the COVID pandemic and mobile type of workforce. You're going to see that be more of an inducement in an area. So we've got it really well here in this area. Tonix in particular, and I was here in August when we were here on a day that didn't look anything like what's here in front of us today. And we talked about their mission and what's there. They've really done a terrific job in hitting the technical areas that have to be hit under CDC supervision and what's necessary in this particular field to have the air, special air filtration systems, the sanitization issues, making sure the containment issues are here, and meeting the biosafety level 2 standard that they have to meet here as well. But beyond those achievements, I just want to talk briefly about the mission of Tonix, because it's so important in so many respects. It's been mentioned before, their work with COVID-19 and what they're doing, the research they're doing in long COVID, the efforts they're looking at in terms of having a diagnosis, not from some of the things that we have to go through painfully. And I'll tell you, Germany's about the worst country to go through that diagnostic test that we have here. I'll spare you the details. They seem to take it to a new level. But to actually do that diagnosis through skin and being able to make that diagnosis that way, it's some of the research that they're doing here as well. The one-shot research they're doing, which is so important in so many respects, because in so many parts of the world, getting boosters, a second shot, so difficult. If it's our armed services or military, having the one-shot protocol is something that would be very helpful as well. As also the work they're doing on immunology here, in terms of oncology work like gastric cancers and research there. Some of the work they're doing in terms of organ transplant rejection, and of course the work they're doing with the central nervous system research, where they're leaders in fibromyalgia, where dealing with issues such as depression, PTSD, migraines. Those are the kind of central nervous system work that they're leaders on in the industry. So we're here looking at a pretty significant day, I think, in our region. I think it's truly a big deal because of all the things we talked about southeastern Massachusetts, all the things we talked about in the biotech industry. I think we're seeing the prospects of new, well-paying jobs turning into reality. We're seeing the turning of the opportunity for a diverse economic growth in our region. We have so many other areas with the offshore wind and tourism being so important. And for those, importantly, that are suffering from life-altering illnesses. And I want to thank all the employees that are here and will be here, as well as the leaders for that, turning hope into a reality. And to go to work every day, do that job, and realize the difference you can make in people's lives and families' lives is so significant. And as we look at today and celebrate all the physical achievements that's being done, let's remember that mission and be grateful for the work that you do and will be doing every day. Congratulations on such an important mission. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Senator Keating, for those kind words. All right, and I'd like to thank everyone for joining us here today. We are going to proceed for the formal ribbon cutting ceremonies, now that they have the ribbon, over at our front door for photos, and I believe they have some photo ops scheduled over there. And as soon as that is done, we'll begin tours of the facility for anyone who would like to go see it. And probably about a half an hour to go through all of our different functional areas. So hopefully you can join us, and I would like to thank everyone for coming today. This is our admin area from the initial building. Actually, see, this was the initial building line right here. This was the 5,000 square feet we bumped out. It really wasn't all that desirable for employees the way it was, with no windows on the side of the building. So we did quite a bit to try and open up, bring light in, and sort of change the aesthetic outside the front of the building. Instead of looking like a shoebox, we tried to give it a little bit of look and feel, and provide a nice environment for the employees. So we have space in here for about 55 seats, I think, right now with all the offices. we call our process product development lab suite. This combines, I think we have 5 labs in here for analytical development, downstream process development, upstream, cell culture. And this is where they take the products that come out of our RDC facility down in Maryland. It comes into this suite to turn what they've developed in the lab into a process that we can manufacture. So this isn't any we'll make material here, it's not GMP material that would ever go into a clinic. This is where we build the process so that we can transfer the process into manufacturing. So it starts here, we bring the material up from RDC, it's developed in this suite of labs here. Now this is the Biosafety 2, BSL2 area. So we have 2 cascades of pressure coming in. I mean, we basically, everything that's required of us to do from a safety perspective from the CDC, we've added a layer of redundancy to it. So we're required to have 1 pressure cascade, we have 2. We have HEPA filtered exhaust that we're not required. Every drain in this facility, every sink and everything goes to a biokill system, not required by code. We took it, knowing that it was the first facility of this nature in the town, we didn't know how it was going to be handled, we didn't know what was going to happen from a regulatory standpoint, so we took, we spent the extra money, did the engineering, took a very, very conservative approach, which also for the benefit of our employees working in here. Days we live in, we had to figure out how we're going to handle it. So this is a unisex.
Nice.
Behind you, we have 3 individual changing rooms. So employees will come in, go into it, grab their scrubs, go in there, change into scrubs, come out, put their personal belongings in one of these lockers, and step into the manufacturing area. So normally you'd be in bunny suits in here. Just wash your hands, and when you return, you're going to come out this door here, and that will be just for storage of dirty gowning when you come out. So this is sort of the interface from the in and the out. Everything in these facilities is designed unidirectional. You come in clean in one direction, materials come in, go through the process suites, it goes out the back door. Things don't cross paths from a contamination perspective. So if you want to go down the clean quarter, you want to lead the way?
Sure.
Now, so
You first, Ashley.
Yeah.
So you don't have,
where they start to grow cells. The cells that are going to produce our vaccines. So the vials, frozen vials come in, they'll thaw them out, break them. They start in small flasks and beakers, growing up cells in this room here until they get a large enough culture. It gets transferred into the manufacturing area. So again, everything's unidirectional. So they'll actually, when the cultures are where they want, the right volumes, they put it in this pass-through here, and then people leave and they go out to the return quarter. They don't go from here into manufacturing rooms. Again, everything's unidirectional flow. Again, we're going to break the rules right now because that's where our door is set up. So this is where they scale up the process. To be able to make clinical volumes of material in here. We have 2 different reactor technologies. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's called adherent and suspension reactors. We don't know what our first process is going to look at. We have 1 of each. But if we get a process we need to scale up, we can move one out and get another one up the other to scale up capacity. So then we take our virus, actually this is a viral prep lab in there, they get that ready. Once the cells we're going to use to produce our vaccine are at an adequate volume, we actually infect them with a virus. And then they produce the antibodies that we need.